Hello, everybody. Welcome to Perfectly Imperfect Recovery Coaching Podcast. I'm your host. Y'all know who I am by now. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode. If you guys want to hear more of my podcast, please go to Spreaker.com/, Perfectly Imperfected Recovery Coaching Podcast. You can also hear it on Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio. You can also hear it on um, I think it's Cashbox and a few other Amazon and I think a few other places I can't remember. So, a little about me. I'm a certified recovery life coach. It's all about helping people in their past, their journeys, and their purpose to a new and better you through self-discovery. Now, as you can see when you look at this picture, come on YouTube as well, you can see two faces, right? And the reason I picked this picture for the actual cover of this particular video, as far as this channel, is because there are two sides to everybody. There's the representation of yourself, and then there is the real version of yourself. Now, for some of you, I know that's a little bit hard to really want to have this particular type of conversation, but we need to have it. It's too many of y'all that are trying to live society standards and trying to be what everybody else wants you to be, which represents this side right here, the side on the left. The right side is more so the real version of you, because if you notice that on this side of it, you'll notice that it's actually covered. So you'll notice that. So you'll notice that her face is covered more so on one side than the other. So if you have, like, for example, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, or you might have, somebody like the Frog Prince or the Beast. You may have somebody like the what was the name of it? The Phantom of the Opera. And you'll notice that all of them were considered ugly, considered unattractive, considered people that were beast, people that were evil, even though you didn't know their personality, but because of the way they looked, it looked as if they were just evil individuals, even though they were not. So just because somebody has flaws and imperfections does not mean that they're bad people, because they're not bad people. Some people just have flaws and imperfections. It's just like a lot of people always want to make fun of somebody that has a disability, and they want to mess with somebody that's done absolutely nothing to them at all, but yet you want to make them feel bad because they have flaws and imperfections and they have a disability. So now, because this person seems weaker than you think you have the right to attack a person. Just like because a person is overweight, that's a reason for you to say, I don't want to get to know this person. I don't want nothing to do with this person. I'm ashamed of this person. I know how it feels to have people be ashamed of you, and people not wanting to date you, not want to be friends with you or anything else because of the way that you look. It is sad that that seems to be the situation, but unfortunately, that is just what seems to happen. A lot of people don't even get opportunities because of the fact of their flaws, their imperfections, disabilities, and mistakes they made in their past. An example of mistakes you made in your past will be somebody that went to jail for a crime and got out, and now they can't even get a job because people don't want to hire them because of what they went to jail for. It's the same equation, unfortunately, and it's really sad that that seems to be what seems to be the case. Now, I created this particular page for people that are in a situation where They do not meet society standards, and you got people that are suffering from anorexia, bulimia, anxiety, depression, trauma, people that have low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-value, people that are cutting themselves, people that are following behind people just because you want somebody to love, like, appreciate, value, want it, need it, to be a part of something, to be validated, to be approved of, to be a part of something, for somebody to know your worth, to be accepted, and also to basically prove something to people. There are people out here that are people pleasers, seat fillers, Captain Saber hoes, builder bears, and builder dolls. And for some reason, they feel like their whole existence is, I have to have somebody in my life. I cannot be alone. I've got to be around people. I don't care if they don't like me or not. I don't care if they're using me or not. I just have to be around this person. Examples of this would be a man that tells you that he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, or a woman, and you're still trying to pursue them anyway, even though they don't want you. And you can't let go of the fact that this person does not want you for some reason. For some reason, you can't let go of the fact that this person just does not want to be in a relationship with you. But yet and still, you're still trying to pursue them anyway, like you didn't hear what they said. It's just like when somebody sexually assaults somebody and they don't care that they sexually assaulted that person. They did not know the definition of the word no. That is becoming a very big problem. It's just like a woman that is dating a man that at first she never thought in a million years this man would ever hit her. Then he hits her. He apologized. She takes him back. He continues to do it. And she continues to go back because she can't do anything without him. See, when somebody takes away your spirit, they take away your standards, they take away everything that you stand for. They make you go against what is right to do something wrong. They have you up here sucking the life out of you and taking everything they can take from you. And then after they get finished, they leave you high and dry and leave you alone and leave you with nothing. They leave you broke, they leave you lonely, they leave you miserable, they leave you with just almost not surviving. If you think about that, you think about Joseph when it came to his brothers, because of their jealousy of his relationship with their father. They decided to not only lead him out there to the slaughter, they sold him as slaves, and they put blood on his cloak and made their father believe that he was gone. This young man was sold into slavery by his brothers and went to Egypt. Now, there's no telling how long he was in slavery, so we don't know. But ironically, he ended up doing something that the emperor or king found useful. And so he ended up becoming king eventually. Now, when his brothers came and he saw them, he could have done absolutely anything to them. Now, mind you, he didn't want them to know at first who they were or who he was. So, of course, he wasn't going to make it easy for them and just give them something. He was going to make them work for it. But at the same time, was that wrong? No, because why in the world am I just going to give you what you want after the way you treated me? Why would I do that? But he still helped them in the end. But then when they realized that he survived and that now he's a king or whatever he was, then all of a sudden now they felt guilty. But you didn't feel guilty all them years that young man was in slavery, and you didn't once think to talk to your dad and letting him know that his son was not only alive, but he was a slave. Now, I'm very sure that the daddy, when he found out, was probably not thrilled about the situation and probably was very pissed off. But all that mattered to him was that he found his son. That's all that mattered to him. So, like I said, the fact that we're in a civilization where it's about being skinny, it's about looks, it's about things that really, to tell you the truth, don't even matter, because just because somebody is skinny does not mean they're not healthy. It doesn't mean that they're healthy. It just means they're small. So losing weight does not mean that you're healthier because you lose weight. Because there are a lot of people that are small that are very unhealthy. So even though externally you might look healthier, internally you're not. There are people that are not supposed to be 110 pounds. We're all supposed to be different sizes and different complexions and male or female or whatever. We're all supposed to be different. But what I would like to know is, what is wrong with somebody that has imperfections, flaws, have a disability, or they made mistakes in their past? Why is that worse than somebody committing a God-forsaken crime? Why is that worse than sexual assault? Why is that worse than somebody putting their hands on somebody? It's amazing how everybody always talks about attraction and you need to go and lose weight. Lose weight for what purpose? Every time I turn around, it's always associated with being able to get a man, or being associated with being able to get this and get that. But not once is it associated with health. There is no evidence that shows that a person that is skinnier than a person that's overweight is healthier. I'm waiting on the receipts on that. Now, the way I look at health is a little bit different. I look at health like this. Is it good to exercise so your metabolism will be high? Absolutely. Am I exercising to build muscles? Absolutely. But does that mean that I'm healthy? No, it does not. So just because I'm building muscles, just because I'm building my metabolism, it does not mean that my digestive system and my organs and my bloodstream and my cells and tissues and mentally that I'm okay. It doesn't mean you can't catch an STD. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go through a broken leg or a broken arm. So just because you are beautiful externally does not mean that you're beautiful internally. Man, the way some of y'all be drinking liquor and alcohol, not understanding what it does to the body, and y'all continue to do it, is beyond insane to me. So like I said, what makes somebody who doesn't have flaws and imperfections better than somebody who does? That would be untrue. But we've been conditioning ourselves into thinking that if you're a heavy set woman, if you're an unattractive or average woman, or even if you're an older woman or a single mother, you're not allowed to date. What are y'all talking about? So it's not about getting to know somebody from a moral standpoint. It ain't about getting to know somebody from values and ethics and principles standpoint. It ain't about the fact of understanding their critical thinking, common sense, and common judgment. Oh no, it ain't about that. It's not about the fact that this person is a kind, sincere, godly person. Oh no, you don't care about that. All you care about is the fact that this person is not physically what you want, even though they're a phenomenal person. But the only reason you won't date them is because of what they look like. Interesting. Just because this person does not fit society standards, that means they can't be successful? Because I hear that all the time, that people can't be successful unless they fit society standards. So if you only got a small percentage of women that are naturally beautiful, and yet and still you're going to talk about the ones that aren't? So it's not about getting to know the person. It's about being intimate with the person and then not having nothing to do with them at all. It's about that person while you are going through your phase of being alone, because you'd be amazed how many people just can't be alone. You want to sit up here and you want to take advantage of somebody, manipulate, bamboozle, and lead them astray. And then when you get done sucking the life out of them, leaving them for dead. Okay. Got it. Duly noted. Now, when it comes to recovery from this particular type of podcast, it is get away as far as you can from society standards, because society standards is going to lead you down the pits of hell, and it's going to lead you to your demise. The majority of people, that the reason why they're unalived is because, like I said, you got people that just want to see you go. You got people that they've done something to you and they don't want to reap the consequences, repercussions of karma. You got people out here that SA people and then all of a sudden feel bad, and then all of a sudden you want to unalive that person. You got people that will molest a child and then turn around and unalive that child because of the fact you came to the epiphany that what you did was wrong. So you didn't come up with the epiphany when you did what you did, but you have the epiphany after you did it. And I noticed that with people. People got this bad habit of doing something and then think about it later on, oh my God, what did I do? When the first thing that should have came to your mind was, what if I do this? What's going to happen? The coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And instead of thinking the could have, should have, would have done, you might want to think about that when you first say you're going to do something. You might want to do your research and find out why it's right or wrong. A lot of y'all go against your standards. You go against what you believe in. You go against everything that's right and do something wrong. So when it comes to flaws and imperfections, I remember they used to talk about Florida Evans from Good Time, about how she wasn't pretty. Even though I thought Florida Evans was very pretty, but that ain't how everybody else felt about it. Everybody always talks about, well, light-skinned people always get all this. That's not true. All light-skinned people do not. There are times where dark-skinned people get certain things that light-skinned people don't get. But see, that only applies in the industry. They're like all these females mad because Chris Brown decides he want to date somebody that's non-black. But if you notice, all the women that he's been with is non-black. He's not with none of the kids' mothers. He ain't with none of them. But yet he can run around and do whatever he wants to. And mind you, I still love Chris Breezy, but still, he's not perfect. And then you got a situation with Rihanna that everybody just can't let go for some reason, and they're still holding it over his head. But as a godly person, you're not supposed to hold over somebody's head what they did. You're supposed to guide them into the right direction so that way they can change. Why would this person want to change if you keep throwing in their face what they did? That would be stupid. You don't see Rihanna thinking about it no more, but yet y'all can't let it go. Rihanna has forgiven that man, but everybody can't seem to accept that fact. But okay. So I'm a little lost on what y'all be talking about halftime. And as a part of recovery, one of the things you got to understand is getting away from society standards is going to give you way more peace, quiet, and tranquility than you could ever imagine. But these things I'm getting ready to say are the reason why we're in these messes we're in the first place. Love, like, appreciate, valued, wanted, needed, to be part of some, to be validated, to be approved of, to for somebody to know your worth, to prove something to people and to be accepted, as well as being a people pleaser, seat filler, captain, save a hole, build a bears, and build a dogs. So if what y'all are willing to do for those things is a reason for your demise, and you tell me I'm lying, if you think for every negative thing there's also a positive side when it comes down to it. But see, when it comes to algebra pretty much says it all for me. Negative and negative will always equal negative, negative and positive will always equal negative, positive and positive will always equal positive. So if you're with somebody negative, that means you're with a non-believer. Why are you messing with a non-believer that's going to have you going down the pits of God knows what, following the rabbit down the rabbit hole? Why are you following somebody and you don't even know where you're going or what you're going to be getting into? Why do you want to be somebody's ride or die, and then when you end up going to jail, you mad because now you and this person ain't never going to speak again? See, that's the part they don't tell you. When you do stuff that is negative, there are consequences, repercussions, and karma. So you can't be running around here following behind people, that you don't even know where they're leading you to. You don't even know what their situation is. You don't know nothing about their childhood. You know nothing about their situation. And yet, and still, you're going to sit up here and follow a person and do all of these things. It's like for those of y'all who want to be Captain Save a Hoe. You want to make a hoe into a housewife. You want to try to build a bunch of people into being the person you want them to be, but that's not who they are. You're trying to make somebody do something that they just don't want to do, and I don't know why. You're trying to convince them to do something that they just are not going to do. No matter how many times you try, they're not going to do it. But yet, you're going to be the one changing for the worst. You're supposed to be the one that's supposed to be uplifting this person, but yet this person is bringing you down to a negative situation that you shouldn't even be involved in the first place. It's just like somebody's a crack addict or a drug addict, and you ain't never done drugs a day in your life, but now you around a bunch of people that smoke ganja and all this other stuff. Now they got you smoking it, and now you're addicted to drugs. It's just like a young boy trying to convince a young girl to be intimate, knowing she ain't ready. But because of the love of that man, she's willing to give up her body for him. I saw a court case where a young girl got pregnant by a young man because he told her he didn't think he was going to be on this earth that long. And he wanted to leave a legacy. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but at the age that they were. Okay. When I tell you the judge went off, I don't blame her. I would have too, because there are a lot of girls that are giving up their dreams, their goals to now be single mothers. I am seeing children being unalived by their parents, being left home for a long period of time, and pretty much something happening to their child. Man, when I saw that situation with that young lady that left her child by herself for 10 days, and that young child died of starvation, fell down the steps, fell out the crib. I can't even get that out my brain without just want to break down and cry. It just makes me look at my son and say, thank God my son is still here. Just because people have children does not mean they're meant to be a mother. And when I think about that, I think about that Vice President Hopeful, the one that said that if you're not a mother, then you're a nobody and you're not worth it. And trying to tax people who don't got kids. You can't be serious. You cannot be serious. Then they talking about the fact that Kamala does not have kids. Bringing up her past relationships. Man, if y'all don't go ahead on somewhere. At the end of the day, like I said, it's no different than when you're trying to do something positive and you're trying to change the world, and you get all these people that are against you because of whatever reason they think, even though it's not accurate, they still gonna say the same narrative. That's pretty much how that works, unfortunately. So when it comes to recovery and when it comes to your flaws and imperfections, you need to turn them into a strength. Stop letting people use your flaws and imperfections as a way to hurt you, as a way to manipulate you, bamboozle you, lead you astray, lead you amok. Stop allowing these people to treat you any kind of way because you feel like you're not good enough because of your looks or because of your weight or because of your health issues or whatever it is that you got going on. You are a beautiful person. God put you on this earth for a reason. And I also made this podcast because there are millions of people that not only get bullied, but also are committing suicide because of this particular topic, which is why I named this podcast Imperfectly Me. For all the people that either have attempted to commit suicide or the people that have actually done it. And even some of the biggest celebrities have committed suicide. Robin Williams, the dude from Linkin Park. You had the guy from Van Halen. I mean, not Van Halen, Nirvana. I think about Nirvana. There are millions of children that commit suicide every day because every day they get picked on every single solitary day. So it's really sad the fact that we even are going through this nonsense. Shouldn't have to, but we are. It is sad that people can't even be themselves without somebody telling you something is wrong with you because of your external looks and what you look like. And it is really sad that we even have to deal with people still stuck on what somebody looked like. And yet there are millions of girls being sexually assaulted every single day because of what they got on. And because you have men out there that only look at them for a sexual manner. Oh, okay. When it comes to recovery, it's this, and I'm gonna say, Lord, please forgive me. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't care what you do, you ain't never gonna fit. You may fit in some places, but you ain't gonna fit in all. At the end of the day, I would rather fit God's standards than man's standards, if you like me to be honest, because at least with God's standards, it's a little bit more realistic, and it's not about what you look like, it's about your character. It's about who you are as a person, your thinking process, and how what you do impacts and affects other people. That right there means a little bit more to me than what you could ever imagine. Like I said, it is sad the fact that you got people out here that really think that by talking about a person and bullying somebody that is acceptable. And then what kills me is when they say, "Oh, you just suck it up and act like it didn't happen." How's somebody gonna suck up something that is traumatizing to them, going to school every day, getting picked on every day, and they're supposed to suck it up and act like it didn't happen? And then you wonder when you go in your room, in their room, and you find out that they are unalive, you wonder why. Because instead of pulling your child out of that school, instead of going to get a police report, this person is suffering in silence. And they're suffering to the point that they can't even talk to you. If people don't have somebody to talk to, how are they supposed to deal with when they have no one to protect them from the predators that are preying on them, especially children? Even with adults, you got people that prey on you. Just like Little Red Riding Hood, who went out there to take grandma some soup. Grandma wasn't feeling it. My first question is, why in the world would Little Red Riding Hood go out there by herself? Why would Little Red Riding Hood go out there by herself in the first place? Why? Why would Little Red Riding Hood have to be the one to go? Why couldn't her mama go with her? Why is it that this little girl had to walk by herself to go take grandma some soup, knowing there are wolves and stuff out there? And we all know the story of Little Red Riding Hood. And I could talk about the original version of it, but I ain't going to. It's a little bit more violent. And, a lot of parents probably pissed off about it. All these stories, Hansel and Gretel was nothing but child neglect. The father left the children out there because his wife didn't want nothing to do with the kids. And then after 24 hours, he realized that it was a mistake and went and got his kids. But that still don't neglect the fact that he abandoned his kids. And with Goldilocks and the Three Bears, that's stealing. She was up there stealing. So I want people to understand that, look, at the end of the day, like I said, there are different types of recovery that we just don't talk about. And these are just some examples. So when it comes down to dealing with these things, that's why I created these podcasts for that reason. Because a lot of y'all don't understand recovery is more than what y'all think it is. But to get to the root of it, you got to go through love, like, appreciate, value, and wanted, needed to be a part of something, to be approved of, to be accepted, for somebody to know your worth, and to prove something to people. And then being a Captain Save-A-Hole, Build a Bear, Build a Doll, Seat Filler, and a people pleaser. Okay. That is why all this stuff is happening. That's where all your trauma is coming, because society is telling you, oh, go ahead and go out there and try to go after this person. No, they don't want you. They don't want you to understand rejection. Because if you actually understand rejection, then guess what? You ain't going to continue to do it. Just like with jobs, as many times that a lot of people are being told no when it comes to jobs, after a while, you're going to stop looking. So if people stop looking for jobs, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get on these employers and find out why you're not hiring people. Just like all these people losing their jobs, and they keep saying, oh, it's because, we're downsizing. No, because you want people to work low income jobs. Can we be real here? That's what y'all want to do. You want them to work low income jobs. You want people to go from jobs where they went to college for to turn around and go work jobs that don't require an education. Y'all told people that if we went and got an education, that we'd be able to make a lot of money, and that's both a lie because most people can't even get past $20 an hour. They've been working for 8 or 9 years in a particular field. They keep telling you, oh, well, if you go get a car and you don't have no credit, you got to get somebody to co-sign. Why would I need somebody to co-sign with me? And I'm trying to get a car. But yet they quick to push credit cards out there like it's nothing. So again, your 5 senses play a very big part in this nonsense. And top behavior is another reason why people are going through so much God syndrome. Because you've been listening to other people that have been leading you astray and leading you amok. And until you find what worked for you, until you research everything that your mind has been ever presented when it comes to your 5 senses, you're gonna find out a lot of it is a lie, except the Bible and spiritual books. At the end of the day, they have told you, well, getting married is going to benefit you. Well, the way the divorce rate is going, I'm going to say otherwise. So at the end of the day, these people just trip me out when they sit there and say, oh, you don't want to have kids. Why would these kids in this generation have kids when they can't even afford a roof over their head? They can't even afford a car to drive. They can't even buy a house. And the way that these people are when it comes to relationships, male and female alike, why would you want to get married? Why would you want to have kids? And they don't understand it's not about putting a band-aid on a wound and just letting it continue to fester. It's about curing the wound and then go do what you need to do. But no, y'all don't want to do that. I ain't got time for that. That's why. So at the end of the day, like I said, if y'all didn't watch Devil's Advocate, you might want to go watch it. Because the Devil's Advocate, Al Pacino did say that the 2000s was going to be the devil. He wasn't lying. You ain't lying because you're seeing it just as quick as you can see it. And that movie came out in 1997. Hold on 1 second. I'll call whoever it is back. But anyway, like I said, I ain't gonna take up too much of your time because somebody's probably calling me and I'm gonna have to call them back in a second. But anyway, let me just say this. I don't expect my podcast to be perfect. I don't want them to be perfect. And I don't want to edit them either. I want my podcast to be raw and real. You want to know why? Because I want to learn from my mistakes. I cannot learn from my mistakes if I cover up my mistakes. I can never learn from it. I can never grow from it if I keep on covering up the mistakes I've made. And that is one thing I've learned when it comes to recovery. You can't keep covering up your mistakes. You're going to have to accept your mistakes for what they are. That's why I'm in a spiritual sabbatical, because I am learning from my mistakes every single day. I'll give you an example. I was up last night on social media, strolling. So I don't even know if it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Woke up at 8. Now I'm exhausted. And I'm sitting here on my sabbatical, supposed to be getting away from this nonsense, and yet I'm still watching it. I said tonight I'm gonna watch television. I am not getting on no social media. I will see what's going on social media in a couple days. At the end of the day, like I said, we are so hooked on these computers and these televisions and these screens, and we're not supposed to be looking at them all day long. It's to the point that kids can't even go outside and play no more. Can't even go outside and play no more. So we really have a serious problem. If we don't figure out how to recover from all of these things and figure out what is truly important when it comes to life, we're going to be stuck. But anyway, I think that's it for me for today. I just want to make this really short and really sweet. I will do a part 2 to this episode. But I want to thank y'all for joining me for this episode. I am your host. Y'all know who I am. I appreciate y'all for joining me for this episode. But if you want to send me an email, like Dear Abby letters, if there's something that you're going through that you would like to email me about, or you want to be a guest on my podcast, or there's a subject you would like for me to talk about, please go to asha.mar ASHA01@gmail.com. That's ASHA.MARIAMA. And you will see all of my podcasts. So that being said, I appreciate y'all because without y'all, there's no me. Y'all have been there for me through this journey of me going through pain, me going through medical issues. So I want to take time to just say thank you for everything that y'all do. And I am going to get ready for the second podcast I got to do. And then I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I will see y'all later. Bye.